Hi, everybody. Joe Cioffi here, weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. And the Joe and Joe Weather Show will be back Sunday night at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. In the meantime, as we take a look at what's going on across the country, not much in the way of watches and warnings, with the exception of the Northwest. The gold, those are all high wind warnings. And the blue here, these are winter storm watches that are up for western Montana, just about all of Idaho and the Sierra Nevadas in Washington and in Oregon, as the storm pattern is shifting now to the north, and storm systems are going to be coming in more in the Pacific Northwest rather than into California, at least for the time being. On the surface map tonight, we've got this stalled frontal boundary offshore. There's a couple of weak waves on it, and as each wave goes by, the front gets pushed further and further to the southeast. The problem is that we've got to wait for this second front that is running back through Lake Erie and Lake Ontario and Lake Erie, and then goes back westward to just south of Chicago, and then swings back up into the northern plains. There's a colder air mass behind this, and some colder air that's in eastern Canada, and that's going to be coming down into the northeast, and actually not only just the northeast, but all the way down into the southeastern part of the United States. It's going to be a quick shot of cold air, and after that, we are going to warm up nicely. In the northwest, not much happening. The next storm system is still a ways away offshore, but it will be coming in later on in the weekend. Checking out the satellite loop tonight, you can see the clouds along the coast of the northeast and mid-Atlantic. Then there's a little break, and then we've got the upper trough and the next cold front that is back across the Great Lakes and into the northern plains. And behind that, as we said, colder air. Very nice weather today in the plains and through much of the Gulf states. And you're starting to see some moisture gathering up in the southwest. That's going to be pushing on up into the northwest. Radars are active offshore, and in southeastern New England this evening, we're seeing some rain, some showers in southeast Virginia into North Carolina, and even in South Carolina and northeast Florida, seeing a couple of showers and even a thunderstorm or two. There's some scattered light activity from north central and southwestern Pennsylvania southward through the central and southern Appalachians. And we've got this area of mixed precip and snow that is moving southeastward from Wisconsin into northeastern Illinois. And that's going to continue to move on to the southeast with that weather front. Just want to point out on the Storm Prediction Center's long range forecast for severe weather, we've got 2 days of interest in the long range. And I've always said when the SPCs put stuff in the long range, it's a pretty good idea to pay attention. Eastern Oklahoma, northeastward through much of Indiana and Illinois, we have a slight risk already being indicated. That's 15%. I think by the time we get there, we're probably going to be dealing with maybe something a bit more than that, and also the possibility of some tornado risk. And on Wednesday into Thursday, we've got that risk shifting eastward into the lower Ohio and Tennessee Valley and in through parts of the deep south. And again, here too, it's a 15% or a slight risk, but I think we could very well see an enhanced risk and also elevated tornado risk. Precipitation in the northwest will be substantial. North of San Francisco in California, going all the way up the coast, we're talking about heavy rains of several to many inches. By many inches, I'm talking 6 or more. And in the Sierra Nevadas, that's going to be snow. And also up in the Northern Rockies, where we're seeing a substantial moisture here of up to several inches of melted precip. And that's also going to wind up being in the form of snow. This is a map that goes out 7 days. And when we look at WPC, this is the probability here of at least a foot, and this takes us to Monday night. There's probably going to be more after that. But we've got 50% or higher in the Sierra Nevadas, also areas of 50% or higher in parts of Idaho and western Montana. As far as 2 inches is concerned, you see it here. It's a bit more widespread, obviously. And in the east, we've got this small area here from northeastern Illinois, southeastward through southern Ohio, and then a few patches in the central Appalachians of elevated risk for at least 2 inches. So we're talking probabilities that are not really that high, 30 to 40%. In the blue, it's 40 to 50. But that's really about it. Otherwise, just some minor risk as we get up into northernmost Maine, northernmost Vermont, and northernmost New Hampshire in a small area of low risk, 5 to 10% chance in the Adirondacks. It's just that sort of a weather pattern here. So going forward, we can look forward to some rather cold air coming into the eastern part of the U.S. during the day tomorrow. The upper trough will probably set off an area of snow and rain from southeast Ohio down into the southern Appalachians. And the core of that cold air will move in Saturday night. So look for a day tomorrow in the northeast and northern mid-Atlantic states of changeable skies, clouds with some sun. Probably start off with some sun and then it'll self-destruct to cloud cover. It might be an isolated rain shower possible in southern Pennsylvania and southern New Jersey as the upper trough goes by. A cold Saturday night into Sunday morning will probably have widespread teens and low 20s for eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England and points north. And then further south, we'll have lows down in the 20s as far south as northern Georgia. But in the meantime, you see the southwest isobar starting from Texas to the Great Lakes, and that's going to be the big warm up. We'll get back to maybe 40 on Sunday in most areas, and then warm up substantially. I think on Monday and Tuesday, we'll probably see some 60s close by, as or maybe not that close by. Might be reaching up into New Jersey and Pennsylvania Tuesday afternoon with this strong southwest flow setting up, and there may be some showers Tuesday night into Wednesday morning as a warm front goes by, and then we've got a cold front coming, and you'll see that snow from the northwest spreading across the plains and into the western Great Lakes with a strong storm system going up into northern Michigan. We'll have a strong cold front moving southeastward, probably with some showers and thunderstorms that will come through later Wednesday into Wednesday night, particularly across the deep south. And then once that goes by, we'll turn a little colder and drier for Friday, and next weekend's not looking too bad. Not too warm, but not too cold either. And as far as winter weather is concerned, we don't see any. And by the way, in the west, as we said, it'll be a series of storms here. This one coming into the northwest with snow and rain and along the coast. And then there'll be another system later next week. And this one will come in and possibly spread some heavy snows down as far south as central California, at least in the mountains anyway. So busy weather out in the west, not so much here in the east. So have a great weekend. We'll see you Sunday night at 7:35 p.m. on the Joe and Joe Weather Show.